Today, I'm going to talk about Charlie's childhood and her family life, including the various theories such as Lilith is actually responsible for Charlie and Lucifer growing so far apart. My name is ImpCut, hit that subscribe button or else I might get fired by Hailey. At the heart of Hazbin Hotel is the story of Charlie and her parents, with VisiPop saying early on that this would be a key part of the story. In the pilot, however, Charlie was shown to be rather distant from her family, taking over one of their old hotels to use as her rehabilitation center, with the parents nowhere to be seen outside of cool photos in the background and only in the pilot. Charlie doesn't even get her father involved in the pilot, but after a horrible failure of a day, tries calling her mother instead. She leaves a message on Lilith's answering machine after she gets no answer, with the Amazon Prime series revealing she hasn't really seen her mother in 7 years now. In episode 5, Charlie finally calls Lucifer, and we get to see their version of this dynamic, but with Lucifer actually answering the phone. Lucifer lives a clearly isolated life, focusing mostly on his personal projects, which are perfecting the different types of rubber duckies he can make, and working on theme parks such as the one named after him, Lulu World. Lucifer, however, acknowledges that he is depressed, and that seeing his daughter is something that will help him fight that. It is clear from his room that outside of his projects, the only thing he loves is his relationships, namely his family, but also his friend we can see pictured over here, who is part of the Von Eldridge family. Lucifer's primary focus is of course going to be his wife Lilith and his daughter Charlie though, but all that changed when Lilith and him split up. Charlie claims that Lucifer didn't want to see her after that, but that is not what we see when she calls him. Lucifer is known for loving his passion projects, but he is excited at the thought of Charlie wanting to see him and inviting him over. Even when Charlie really only invited him over because it was an attempt to get him to do something for her that he didn't want to do, setting up a meeting with the angels. He even notes that he has to play it cool because this is the first time that Charlie has called him in a long time instead of him calling her. Charlie has received and answered these calls, but has thought of them as insincere for 2 reasons, one valid and one not so valid. The not so valid is that Charlie says that Lucifer only calls him when he needs something, indicating Lucifer only likes Charlie when he can use her. From Lucifer's perspective, we can see that this isn't true, and he likely just uses excuses to call her because he thinks if he calls her for no reason, Charlie will be uncomfortable or upset. This is a man who has gone a very long time without talking to the people he loves the most because he is convinced that to reach out is to be a burden, and that the only way to validate that is to have some sort of legitimate need to reach out, otherwise he would see himself as wasting Charlie's time. Charlie misinterpreted this, but it is understandable when Lucifer is revealed to have a hard time understanding Charlie's interests despite wanting to be a part of her life. To be honest, it's a bit hard to explain why Lucifer didn't jump on the chance to visit the hotel last time Charlie brought it up, with him not even remembering that talk, painting him as just not caring. It is sometimes a bit natural in real life, especially with a generational gap, for 2 people to struggle to connect on a certain level even if they have the same interests. When a child grows up, they can essentially become you and your potential best friend, but because of all the context you have of them as a child, it simply puts up the walls where you aren't sure how to approach anything they are doing as if they are an adult. This may not translate well onto the screen, making Lucifer seem almost contradictory, but he makes it clear that he did want to take an interest in her life, and once he realizes that Charlie's dreams were inspired by him, they can bond over it. He wanted to dismiss Charlie's ideas of redemption at first because of what he had experienced giving free will to humans, but once he realized that these dreams were inspired in part by his own dreams of what the world could be, he couldn't help but try to invest in her, even though he knows it may end tragically. The question is, why did Charlie say that Lucifer didn't want to see her, and why did Lucifer seem to have the exact same idea about Charlie? The obvious answer would of course be Lilith, the mother of Charlie and the wife of Lucifer, who I imagine to be instigating the split. Lucifer clearly yearns to be with his family again, and would likely even take Lilith back if she so chose, but she seems to have disappeared from her family's life 7 years ago, after perhaps being the one to tell Charlie that Lucifer doesn't want to see her. Lucifer would very easily have the same idea planted in his head by Lilith, likely claiming that she is leaving Lucifer because she and Charlie were both worried about him and his behavior. Lucifer is depressed and thinks Charlie will help him fight that, but he doesn't claim that it will cure it by any means, and his sadness seems to go way back before that, stemming from his initial punishment. His act of giving knowledge to humans may have led to some really great things in heaven that Lucifer might actually appreciate, but because he was banished to hell, he never got to see the good of it, only the endless violent sinners who he thinks of as psychopaths that he has ruled in a seemingly detached way, letting the evil overlords rise up and conquer their own people. This gave him a depression that he's wrestled with for a very long time, and it would have driven a wedge between him and his wife, as well as his daughter, though it seems Lilith was responsible for that even before the split. As a child, Charlie can be seen wandering into Lucifer's room to see what he is working on, and them bonding over that little time shared. And it is Lilith who is the one that comes in and takes Charlie away from him, likely telling Charlie that Lucifer needs his alone time to work on these little projects, treating Charlie as if she is bothering him. Now, Lilith is known from Jewish legend to be the first wife of Adam. Adam was described in the Bible as being made from the dust of the earth, and Eve being made from his rib or his side. According to the Zohar, which is built off of the oral tradition surrounding the Torah, or the first 5 books of the Bible, Lilith was created from the dust of the earth alongside Adam, and because of that, she refused to submit to him. For this, Lilith was cast out of the Garden of Eden, where she met a fallen angel named Samael, who is described in the book as riding upon the serpent in the Garden of Eden to trick Eve into eating the fruit of forbidden knowledge. Hence, in the show, Lilith is someone who ran away from Adam and married Lucifer, who, in the Christian tradition, is essentially the same character as Samael, both representing the greater narrative of fallen angels in the Book of Enoch, which the serpent is easily seen as a symbol for as well. Lucifer was described as being quite the equalist in early livestream, with Lucifer and Lilith being said to take turns being the dominant partner in their relationship, so to speak. But after some time, I imagine that isn't enough to satiate someone like Lilith. Lilith may have her own more noble motives, but after seeing just how simple and vain Adam is, I wonder if Lilith is the same thing. Adam embodies the stereotypically toxic male, but it would be funny if Lilith embodied the stereotypically toxic female. While Lilith was likely right in not wanting to be subservient to Adam, she may not truly yearn for equality in a relationship either, and that may be part of why she kept Charlie somewhat distant from Lucifer, always making herself someone Lucifer had to go through in order to get to Charlie. Now, in previous videos, I theorized that Alastor sold his soul to Lilith, and that is why he is actually at the hotel, with Lilith planting him there the same way she planted Lucifer in the Garden of Eden as a serpent, working together with her on the outside of the garden to sabotage it. She would force Alastor to work there the way he forced Husk to work there, both cases just being a demon under contract being pushed into the situation where they can cause the most damage. It would explain why Alastor, beyond just wanting to screw with Lucifer, seemed so invested in trying to replace Lucifer as a father figure for Charlie, not just because he may actually be growing to care for her, but because he also knows that this would play into Lilith's bigger plans and his own power he gains through it. In Vivziepop's offhanded power ranking of various demonic species and classes, Lilith and Charlie were put beneath Lucifer, but above the other demonic rulers, with them being said to gain their power through Lucifer. Without him, Lilith may have no power at all, and while Lucifer may continue to let her have power even when they are apart because he still loves her, Lilith may want all of it for herself so she can be the true ruler of hell, not subservient to Lucifer the way she didn't want to be subservient to Adam either. But what do you guys think? And if you think about it hard enough, will it come true? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below so I can harvest their power to make my own thoughts come true. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I already asked you to earlier in the video, and it's kind of rude that you haven't at this point.